All right, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Southern Dog Men podcast again this afternoon. This afternoon we got a great guest. We got Mr. Kris Knight from the Hunting Dog Public. He's decided to come on and sit down with us for a little bit. We're gonna get some good information off of him. Kris, I've enjoyed all your podcasts you've been doing. You know, when I first got into the dogs and I was looking for information, man, I had everybody say to look up your podcast, and I've been a listener from the early days. I mean, I don't know how long exactly you've been doing it, but I know I've been listening for at least 2 years, going on 2.5 years now. And man, I enjoy everything y'all are putting out. Uh, y'all do great things for the sport. Great information, great guests. I eat it up. I look forward every day, hoping y'all drop a new episode. So
Well, we sure appreciate you, dude. Yeah, man, we kind of me and Cody got to darn shooting the junk. I'd been going to competition hunts and stuff, and he just called me one day, and I can't really remember exactly how we got to talking, but I don't know. It was along the lines of when I didn't have one of them moments. But anyway, Coon Hunting University had first gotten started, and there was nobody doing anything with squirrel dogs, and we were like, you know what, we can. I think we can do that, and so we just got to talking, man, and we put some stuff together, and man, it's been a good deal. So,
how long y'all think y'all been doing it now?
whew, I'm gonna say, yeah, you was right, 2.5 years, I would say. Um, but man, it was just overwhelming at first, because like the very first one we did, we were like, dang, it is a lot of people that want to listen. I mean, it's 200 and something thousand people, listen to this stupid us talk about dogs, so it's uh it's really been a good deal, and we enjoy it, man. It sometimes with life we get, you know I got a son that's 14 years old. Cody's got two kids. Miles has two kids. Jeremy has two kids. So it gets really busy. When we first started out, it was just Cody and I, and we were doing one every single week. And man, it got to the point where, not that we were getting burnt out or anything, it was just become a second job, honestly, because I get everybody's busy and stuff like that with life, but you know how it is, man. You call somebody and, yeah, I'll do it, and then it gets time. You text them or something. Hey, man, I'm gonna be giving you a call in 10 minutes. Hey, can we do it tomorrow? Can we do it the next day? And like I said, I get everybody's busy. It just become a chore to get everything lined up. So when we got the other guys, we had Mason Bush for a little while with from he ended up buying the Coon Hunting University, and I mean, he was a blessing being on our podcast as well. He did some very good interviews, with the coon hunting, the hound world, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
He brought some of the bigger names to the hunting dog public. As far as the dog world goes, we he did some good things for us. So we got a lot of recognition from him. I don't want to leave him, not mention him, because like I said, he did well. We got, Miles Miller. He grew up hunting, coon dogs, and the PKC stuff, hunting with Brendan Tony and them, and he's got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the dogs. And Jeremy Garner, Cane Creek on Facebook, he that speaks for itself. I mean, that dude's got such a following.
He's been a
And
good add-on, man.
oh, dude,
I enjoy his stuff a lot.
he's been in the cur game for long, you know, as long as me, probably longer than me. But as far as the competition stuff, but he's just he knows so much, and he's so good with a dog, and he he's just got a big following, man, and everybody likes him, and they want to hear what he has to say. I mean, he keeps something going all the time. He's funny as crap. But yeah, so that's been a big deal, getting him on, and then Cody, obviously, that's my partner, from the jump. So we had, like I said, Cody got a squirrel dog. I mean, it started out, our relationship started out, Cody messaging me saying, "Hey man, what do you think I should do with this dog? What do you think?" When his dog, uh, when it was a 4 and 5 month old pup, treeing squirrels out there like that, he was calling me or texting me, asking me for advice. And we just, we built a relationship like that. And I just kind of told him, whether it was right or wrong, what I would do. And man, that's how we kind of got started, And then he was like, "Hey, dude, everybody wants to, everybody, you know a lot about the dogs and stuff. Let's start a podcast." And I was like, "Sure, man." And I'd actually contacted him, I think that's how it went down. Anyway, um, I'd mentioned, no, I know exactly how it went down. I take that back. I told him, like, just say 6 months prior to when we started it, I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do a podcast and talk squirrel dogs." And he's like, "Yeah, do it, do it. That's the way of the world. That's the new thing, new thing, new thing." And then he calls me one day and he's like, "Hey, I bought my podcast stuff. It's time to either use the bathroom or get off the pot because
Put up or shut up.
I'm doing this thing." That's what he said. "I'm doing this thing." So I was like, "All right, I guess." He got tired of me procrastinating, and I said, "Let's do it." So that's basically how we got our start, man. And it's been good. It opened our eyes up. We've talked to a bunch of good people. I mean, we've had some sponsors over the last couple of years, good sponsors, and man, we elected to not nothing against the sponsors. We didn't have no bad one. We just, when you got sponsors, you're obligated, and
Hmm.
right with the way our sports, our kids' sports, and life, dude, it just it just fits us better to not be obligated, to to it, and let it be a hobby,
That's how
instead of a job.
that's how I'm feeling right now, man. I mean, my boy, he's about to start t-ball again next week. I've already shoot 2 podcasts a week down at our local fishing and tackle shop, and I'm trying to do my own, plus trying to run my dogs, get them ready for competition season. It's overwhelming, and I feel like some people don't comprehend it.
That's right. And it is a chore, man, and it's just like a job. I was in there with my wife, and a while ago, my son, he has to do homework, like I said, and me and her were in there just shooting a junk, talking, having some, fellowship between, because like I said, dude, if you don't, first and foremost, I should have said this first. God has been so good to me and my family that without Him, I don't deserve anything I have. But he was like, he changed my way. I was a pretty much an alcoholic for a long time, dude. I didn't think I was, but and then it just he grabbed me and he was like, "Dude, you fixing to lose your wife. Somebody else is gonna raise your youngin. You just built the house. You fixing to lose it." And I was just like, "Oh yeah, I better straighten my act up." But anyway, so I try to take time. It gets hard. We're working. She's a speech pathologist, so she's busy. But I try to take time with her and my kid, Payson. Try to and during the day. And we were in there sitting a while ago, and I was like, well, "Hey, I'm gonna go get on the phone for a little while and stuff like that." So I get it, man. Everybody's busy. So with that being said, dude, finding time to do these things it's become more and more
Of a chore.
well, it's become difficult, so
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I had 3 lined up for last week, didn't get a single one of them done. Which I totally get it, man. I'm one of them. I want to put the kids first and everything like that as well. Uh,
it is tough, man. And honestly, I'd like to say that it's going to get better, but I don't know that it will. It's because, I mean, everybody's busy, dude.
oh yeah.
Well, and you got to look, man. Our country and with this election, everybody's worried about the election, and I am too. I mean, if something don't change, dude, we are doomed. So,
Hmm.
um, we got to look at that. We got to look at that whole election, dude. Whether whether you like so and so or I like so and so, man. It's the last 4 years or 3.5 years has been the pits of hell. So we got it can only go up. So
Something's got to make a change.
that's right. Yes, right. And only us we can vote that out. So anyway,
Exactly.
this ain't a political podcast. I
Exactly.
know. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in on that.
We won't get
But no, I know
political.
you was asking me. Yeah, I knew you'd asked me if how I kind of got my start dog hunting and stuff. So if you want, we'll get into
Well,
that stuff.
before we hit that,
Yeah.
you was kind of talking about your testimony.
Uh huh.
I want to hear that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. For
said you
sure.
got pretty rough there.
Well, so
I'm a
here's
God fearing man. I like to
that's
hear a testimony if somebody wants
Hey
to give
man,
it.
I
Cause
got a good one. I got a good one. That's So what happened was, I had I'd always went to church, grew up in this same church that I go to now. I just was in and out, and my parents, I never really dabbled in drugs or anything like that. It started out like, man, high school. I would drink on Friday and Saturday nights with the little occasional with the high schoolers, the seniors and stuff. Well, then I got to college and I started drinking and, man, just partying, really, just really, really partying and stuff. And before I got married, I had just out with your buddies, and got married. And I've been married. Let's see, Payson's 14, so I'll be married almost 16 years now. Um,
congratulations.
yeah, man, it's been great. It really is. She's a blessing. But what happened was, like, so I would lie to her and be like, "Hey, I need to go over here or go over there," and I'd go to a buddy's place and start drinking, or I'd be out of town working and, "Oh, baby, I'm gonna go to the room and go to bed." Well, I'd be in the bar somewhere, but anyway, it finally, dude, it just got to the point where, you know, she had she had told me that, and I didn't realize I'd done it. Man, I'd woke up. She said I'm sorry. She said she had woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was mixing a drink. So it had got to the point where I was drinking whiskey. So and that was I didn't even really realize I was drinking. I mean, I was drinking like almost a half a gallon of whiskey every 2 to 3 days. So um yeah, and plus I was drinking, every day. I drank me, 6, 8, 10 beers before I got on the whiskey. So uh, it was a long road, but man, I went to church. My son, he asked me, he's like, "Daddy, come to church, come to church." That's been 10 years ago, so he was
Hmm.
young. He's like, "Daddy, come with me to church. Let's go to church," And I was like, "Oh, baby, Daddy's sick." Well, I was just hungover, but I went to church one day, man, and I'm sorry, December the 15th, I went to church, and uh, it was, I'm sorry, it was 12, 15, 16. So whenever, ever, how long it's been, 9 years. Anyway, uh, I went to church that day, and man, I remember them playing some music, but then that's about all I remember. And then I remember everybody was just around me praying over me, dude, and I just felt like the biggest high, and like that's the best feeling I'd ever felt in my life.
Hmm.
Like, I had it was better than any alcohol, whiskey, you know, that I'd ever experienced. So that from that day on, dude, I never left. That's, like I said, that was in 16. So I haven't had a drop to drink. I haven't. Yeah, I dipped snuff a lot back then, or every day I dip a can of snuff a day. But I quit drink. Not only did I quit drinking, I quit dipping and everything. Man, it was just something that it was a long time coming. I mean, like I said, I was drinking and stuff, and my wife, I didn't never, like, physically put my hands on her, but I would talk ugly to her, or you know, say stuff that I don't remember ever saying, but I was drunk, just trying to make excuses of why I needed to be somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
I I'm never gonna be that guy that's like, hey man, you don't need to drink. You don't do that, because I know that, you can drink and go, go to heaven and stuff like that. I just, me with the personality that I have, I can't drink. You know what I mean? I can't just have the one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
that's a little.
I understand that fully, man. I've been around it, seeing alcoholics and this, that, and the other, man. And, I kind of got like you, man. I got out of church for a little while too, and I've just recently gotten back in it. And, when you get back and you start seeing all the blessings that you've missed, it's eye opening. You're just like, wow, like what have I been doing,
It is, man. It's kind of crazy how everything comes full circle, and how, you could be 1 minute, like, you can be. I remember Lindsay and I fussing about, like, bills, paying bills and stuff, man. And then, for the last 10 years, dude, and I'm not saying I make the most money ever, but, like, I don't just, we never worry about it. And it's always there. The money's always there. And some, when we started paying our tithes and putting God first, dude, it's just, the money, it's just stuff that, that's, you just don't, I guess you just don't never, see until you start doing,
Mm-hmm.
putting him first, and start doing that, because, at the end of the day, that's, I can sit here and tell you why I do what I do, but until you accept, God into your heart, and, as your Lord and Savior, then, I mean,
People
that's
ain't
what.
fully going to understand it until they got what we
Oh,
got.
no, man. And my podcast is, that was one of my big deals, every episode, whether whoever it is going to be, interviewing on that. We do a today's word. That's our little segment. We do it. Every podcast has some verse, and for that, when I get to, I've told my story a bunch of times on my podcast, and I mean, to have people to say, hey man, uh, I really appreciate, I needed to hear that word today. I needed to this and that, or, hey man, just letting you know that I got saved last week, at church. I went to church and stuff, dude, and it's just been, that's a blessing,
Oh yeah.
in itself.
And
So,
I was going to touch on that word of the day. We can try to read our books and do our praying and this and that, and sometimes life gets in the way. But if a man can get in a truck and that's the first thing he hears when he turns on his favorite podcast, I feel like it kind of sparks that in your heart, sparks it in your mind. Well, dang, I needed that for today. And
that's right.
then you turn around, you get to enjoy the talk with your dogs. Uh, I've enjoyed it. I look forward to it.
It really is a blessing. And I mean, this is I've talked to my pastor in the past, and he's like, dude, that may be your ministry. That could be your ministry. That's
Mm-hmm.
how you the world, with, even if it is just that little, 3 sentence, blessing or devotion. Somebody that's listening to your podcast, may need to hear that word. So
Yeah, it's letting your light shine. Like the Lord says, He's the shepherd, we're the sheep. As long as we let our light shine, try to do something for somebody.
that's right. That's right. So it's been good, man. It is. It's a blessing. He's been good to me, and I owe it all to him. I wouldn't have none of this junk if it wasn't for him.
Well, that's one thing about the dogman world. There is some bad apples out there, but man, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of
Yeah,
good guys out there.
there's more good than bad.
Yes, sir.
I'll say that, way more good than bad. I met some of my best friends fooling with these dogs, and uh, I met some good godly men
Mm-hmm.
these dogs. Me and Brandon Lowry, we talk every day. Lee Langley, we talk every day. Those two are some good, godly men. That if you down and out, and you can be like, man, you know, I'm dealing with this. You could call them or text them, and they'll have some positive word to tell you. So it's always good, and that's a good thing to have. I talk to a bunch of folks every day. Me and Miles and Stephen Brabham, Cody Moreland. Man, I talk to Ty Ford. He's a good dude. You just surround yourself with good dog people, and you'll you'll be all right.
Oh yeah, a little eye opening, a little soul opening, and there's always good information passed around.
That's it.
Whether
It,
it's with
man.
dogs or Jesus, there's always something good you're gonna
Yeah,
hear.
that's it.
So,
That's it. That's it.
but yeah,
So,
man, let's jump into how you got you start with your dogs. I mean, if it was a childhood thing,
yeah.
if it come from your
So yeah. So what happened was is the man. As long as I can remember, I've had some sort of dog, whether it be I've dabbled with, I started out, my granddaddy, he always had squirrel dogs. I mean, I grew up from 4 or 5 years old. I know going squirrel hunting with him, and it would be, I remember, he called them with cur dogs, but I mean, it didn't matter if it was a bird dog that would tree squirrels and a feist that would tree squirrels. He bred them two dogs, and they made squirrel dogs. You know what I mean? So he wasn't really no breed guy. He bred squirrel dog, and that's what he hunted was squirrel dogs. So I started out, like I said, 4 or 5. I'm 45 now, so 40 years ago, I guess it's probably when I about got my start fooling with dogs. Now I would hunt his stuff, and everything was named, Queen or Dan or something like that. He had every good female that he owned name was Queen. I mean, go get old Queen, or go get old Jake. That was Jake was it was Jake and Queen. I said Dan, but I meant Jake and Queen were the only dogs. I mean, and it was, I remember 7 or 8 different Jakes and 7 or 8 different Queens. They were all, if they were good, they got named Jake, and if they were good females, they got named Queen. That's just how he was. He's an old school cat from right here in Scott County, Mississippi. Morton, he was born and raised, and man, we hunted a bunch of days together. It was some of the best times of my life. But so I got those. I fooled with just stuff off of his. I'd take one of his puppies. He didn't he didn't really care. I'd just go get one, and I'd carry it to the house, and I'd raise it up and fool with it. And a lot of times, it just you just throw them out with his dogs, and they'd go to treeing. But man, for the most part, I fooled with got my start fooling with squirrel dogs, and then I guess going through junior high and stuff like that, I dabbled with, I had some buddies that they had a couple coon hounds and stuff. Nothing really, flashy, no big name, nothing. They may be a black and tan or red bone or, a blue tick or whatnot. And we'd go, and, it was always fun to go on Friday night and Saturday night. We'd go turn out a coon dog or 3 and go tree some coons. I never really got, I knew the hides was up, but I never really got into the whole hide hunting thing.
so that was still going on when you was a kid, though, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Said I'm 40. I'm 45 years old, so that would have been, in the 80s. I was hunting dogs, back then, but
Okay.
yeah, nothing. Now, keep in mind, I never went to a competition hunt until 2000, I think it was. But anyway, so yeah, I fooled with some coon hounds. Then I got back to fooling with, I always had like a squirrel dog that I could go and, you know, it's a lot different now. The dogs that I like now are way different. You wouldn't even think about hunting the dogs that I hunt now versus back then, because we shot everything
Mm-hmm.
back then, you know. Uh, but yeah, so moving forward, I fooled with some coon hounds. Then I got into let's see, what else did I do? I never really had any rabbit dogs. I had buddies, and I always liked going rabbit hunting. But we deer hunted with dogs, so that's a big part of my life, man. Growing up in high school, we had, my parents, my dad, they had, walker hounds, running walkers. So I mean, we would feed. Man, my uncle would feed 70 something walkers sometimes. You know what I
Oh
mean?
wow.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It'd be 70 or so walker hounds, and I mean, this is how it was. We got Benville National Forest is right here in my back door, so it's 150,000 acres. I mean, and we would literally. This was obviously pre cell phone. It was all CB radio and 4-wheel drive trucks.
Mm-hmm.
With dog boxes, and we would literally we would it would be cab high dog boxes, and I mean it would be 25 dogs in each truck, and you would you turn 5 or 6 out right here on this deer, and they'd run, and they'd live to run it for 2 or 3 hours, and you couldn't get in front of him, so you just go a deer across the road, you go dump some more out on him. You just keep dumping them out, and then you'd catch them up. After lunch or so, you'd ride around and try to catch your dogs and get them pinned up and fed for the next day. Or if you didn't, you throw your hunting jacket out, and you come back the next morning to. And them dog, you allowed to have 4 or 5 dogs laid up there around your jacket, where you cut them loose. Oh,
Now is the deer hunting with dogs? It's still a pretty big thing down in Mississippi. I don't think
yeah,
we're allowed to do it up here where I'm at.
yeah. So we do. I'm in a camp right now, so I'm in a camp 4,300 acres of private land that but does border some state land that we run on also. But man, my private land it's done got to where they're coming in and around building these neighborhoods. So I've instead of the long-legged running walker dogs, I've crossed that onto a short-legged beagle and got just like a 18-inch dog, 15 to 18-inch, a little quicker than a beagle, but not as fast as a running walker. I can get in front of them. We hunt off the side by sides now, so
Mm-hmm.
they're easier to get in front of and get stopped. But everything I got now, I mean, their tone broke. I can, they all wear a Garmin. I got the Garmin 300 now with a 25 collars, but they're all toned. I can stop them before they get to the road, and they'll come back to me, or they'll wait for me to get there. It's evolved. I think that we would back then, we would cut dogs loose, and never did dream about having a tracking system. I mean, the very first tracking system I ever seen, you folded out some antennas that come in like a little, I don't know, it looked like a gun case, a smaller gun case, and they all folded up. And I mean, it was just a beep basically. You had these magnets you put on the collars or to cut them off. But anyway, it was so that's some of my first that's some of my first tracking devices that I ever had any experience with. But man, yeah. So now it's evolved. I'm gonna do that. I like to say I'm a big competition squirrel hunter, or I was at one time, but I do the week of Thanksgiving here in Mississippi, and 2 weeks in between Christmas and New Year's. I take off from work every year. I've done that for the last, I don't know, 16 years anyway. I take those times off, and that's our deer dog season, and we run deer dogs every day. My son's with me, my in-laws, my Lindsay's dad, parents. I mean, we all go to deer camp. We're all in the same deer camp. Lindsay and I have a 16 by 80 trailer house that we have at deer camp. Her parents have, trailers and stuff. And dude, we just get around and cook, and, we run deer dogs till,
So it's a whole family ordeal.
oh yeah, man. It's a great, man. We have Thanksgiving and Christmas at deer camp. I mean, honestly, we
Man, you
do.
can't beat that at all.
Used to, we would come home on Christmas Eve and stuff, and we still do. Lindsay likes to have Christmas Eve here, and wake up and stuff. So we'll come home, but then we're back down there that following day, or either that I may go back that evening and she come back the next day. But yeah, man, we lived there for for those 3 weeks. I mean, and it's just obviously it's not your home, but you got a king size bed, you got satellite TV, you got you got a kitchen and stuff like that. So it's not we're not really roughing it like we used to, but
You got
man, it's a
everything you
good.
need to enjoy it.
That's right. It's a good time, and plus it's closer to her. We're she's only about 25 minutes from the local from the malls over there, so she can shop and
Oh,
do
yeah.
whatever she can shop and do whatever she wants to do over there. So that's always a good thing.
All the
But
women folk can go do something else. Let
that,
the men run, right?
that's exactly that's what happens. They do that, and we kind of just shoot deer and run deer dogs. And like I said, we've gotten, I guess, either older or whatever, not lazier or whatever that may be. But we usually try to catch all our deer dogs up by 12:30, 1 o'clock, and we get them penned back up and fed and everything. And then, man, by 2:30, 3 o'clock, there's somebody going to get on a deer stand in the evenings. I'm not much on still hunting. My son, he goes, and my in-law father-in-laws, they'll carry him to they'll go sit on a stand with him or something if he wants to go. But I'm usually getting away from wherever they are for the still hunters, and I'm casting a squirrel dog. I'm keeping one legged up because on a lot of times on Saturdays, we got them squirrel hunts, so I'll leave the deer camp and go go to a squirrel competition or something. So
Just switching over to the squirrel dog stuff. How long have you been competition hunting squirrel dogs?
my very first squirrel hunt was, I'm trying to think of the year. I don't know. So somehow me and Miles Miller made buds, and he was like, "Hey man, there's some hunts over there. I'll send you this dog." He had a female out of, shoot, I don't even, maybe it was Buster or something. I can't remember what she was out of, but she's a good squirrel dog, and he sent her to me, and I kept her and hunted her, and that was before I'd bought my own dog, and I took her to a competition one time, and man, that's kind of how I got my start. I bought her. I mean, no, I didn't. I hunted her. He owned her. Uh, and then I bought a tree and walker. I was going to these open hunts. I bought a tree and walker, 6-month-old dog that was, he started treeing squirrels, and he just kept going, kept going, kept going. And I hunted him in a couple hunts, made the finals on a NSD, what is those, division hunt, that was a full elimination deal. Won a second at another hunt one time. Never could really win anything with him. But that's just to say that, I mean, dude, down here, you got to have a squirrel dog. In Mississippi, there are some good dogs here. I mean, I hunted with, you know, Stephen Brabham's digger dog. He won everything. I hunted with David Hillman, had Jammin' Demon and Jammin' Boss Man. I mean, anytime you have to go against those guys, Teflon Don, he was a squirrel treeing dude. I mean, there's so much competition here.
I feel like Mississippi's kind of like the center place of where a lot of the good dogs are coming from nowadays. Now I could be wrong. I haven't been doing this too long, but from the people I've talked to, from what I've seen on Facebook, it looks like Mississippi is the hub for like the competition squirrel dog.
And there's a pile of good dogs. I mean, Mississippi does have a lot of good dogs, but I mean, you got those boys from Louisiana, and you got Shane, Mason, and Wade.
Mm-hmm. They're out in
And
Texas, correct?
that's right, kind of Texarkana. Shane's from Spring Hill, Louisiana. You got Miles and Ronnie Polachek in Louisiana. You got every one of those. You got LBK. Them boys are freaking hauling studs to the competition hunts with Gary Mitchell and Bart and all them up that way. Out of Arkansas, yeah, Alabama. Hey, Alabama's got some good dogs. I've hunted with some good dogs out of Alabama. Eric Wally. You got to think about all Eric Wally's dogs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's got some of the nicest dogs, and you know,
Is he not a
and
Mississippi boy?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
Okay,
got
yeah.
got some of the. I mean, that's the stuff that we got to hunt against. Brandon's always packing a good squirrel dog. Brandon Lowry. Uh, you got Mr. Jeff and Cody Lancaster. You got Adam Faulkner and all them up there that's hauling some squirrel dogs. And then you got Cody, Cody Moreland. He won the world hunt this
Mm-hmm.
past with his little gunner dog, and that's you know not a lot of people talk about that dog, but he's as good as a dog that I've ever been in the woods with. I mean, as far as competition, that dude is going to tree a squirrel, and his only issue would be that squirrels ain't down. He may get out of pocket, but he's going looking for a squirrel, and he's nice, and he need, that's just it. I'll tell him anybody, folks that wanting to breed to a good dog, I'd be a good one to go breed to. I'll just be honest to you. He's we had the female out of that dog, and the male dog is Blackjack of Chance Robertson's. He's throwing some. He's a chipper bred dog. He's throwing some nice dogs. Yeah, Cody's got a really nice male dog. You get, like I said, you got Miles and them with little Sniper down there. I mean, he's throwing some crazy good puppies. I mean, I think he threw the what was that, the junior world champion, that little gator dog that Mike Powers had.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, not a little Sniper. I mean, there's all kind of. I mean, it's this place is slam full of good squirrel dogs. So if you don't have a good squirrel dog, you can get one from around here.
Oh yeah, I might be in the market. I've been talking to some people here and there, but man, I've fallen in love with it. Like I said, this is gonna be my second year of the competition stuff, and man, I'm just eat up with it.
That's right.
I've put deer hunting on the back burner just for this. I mean, kind of with turkey season too. Heck, I was still running my squirrel dog until the leaves got on. I was putting turkey season on the back burner.
That's one of the biggest thing. My dad and I, we turkey hunted our whole time. I pretty much ever since I could tote a gun, and that's some of my best. I enjoy it. I still hunt as many days as I can. I'll go before work and listen and try to get pacing on a turkey. And but again, these dogs, dude, I'm telling you, they do something for you, especially when you got a good one, man. If you got
Mm-hmm.
a good, it's hard to not go. But getting back to kind of what I was hunting, dude, I got a dog from my next dog I got was I bought a dog from Cody Pritchard. His name was Tank, and that's kind of like he could really set the mark for me. He was not the best dog in the world. He in squirrels he would tree them, but dude, he's the dog that give me I felt confident going to a hunt with. Every time I unleashed him, I knew he was going to get treed. I didn't have to worry about him leaving, and it didn't make a darn if it was good weather or bad. He was going to get treed, and I don't know. I did a lot of winning with him. That's kind of what I hate to say put me on the map, because I'm a nobody, dude. I ain't gonna lie to you, but uh, he just I always felt confident. My biggest accomplishment with him was I think it was 2021 or something. Anyway, they had a ice storm in Hazen, Arkansas, and I made the finals in the world hunt there at the UMCA World with him. But yeah, dude, he went to the NSD World a couple times. Um, I just did. I mean, I did a lot of winning with him. He was a Grand Squirrel champion. Let's see, what else did I do? He just I was the Mississippi Dog of the Year in the NSD. There were 76 dogs I hunted against that year, and then it was me. It was Adam O'Donnell with Ben, Porcupine Mountain Ben. It was he's gonna kill me, Brad. Oh shoot, from Alabama. Doggone it, he had a dog he called Rocky, and it was me with Tank, and we had a doggone shootout, son. It was every week we were going somewhere because if we didn't go, then uh somebody would pass us. I mean, I seen a picture on Facebook the other day that it was like Adam O'Donnell won the Cur Dog of the Year with Ben with like 760 points. Uh, Brad was second with Rocky. He had like 755, and I had 40, 45 or something like that. I missed a hunt that I couldn't get to or something like that. And dude, it was just a shootout. We were going somewhere at the same time, and we would end up showing up to the same state hunts. We'd be driving 3 hours over, to go to a state hunt for $35 hunt. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was just fun, dude. It was fun trying to do hunt against them boys and stuff like that. But we had a good time. But anyway, he was probably the dog that really that really got me, fired up about going you know, to them squirrel hunts because I don't know, you like I said, you meet a Brad Lucas. I couldn't think of his name, but it just come back to me. Um, um, but yeah, he had. That's what really got me fired up about going to these darn hunts. But then I bought a puppy. I kind of quit hunting tank. Not say quit hunting tank. I was at the same time I had him. I had a little bird dog female out of Big Creek Woody. Everybody knows Woody.
Yeah.
Michael
Yeah.
Perkins.
Yeah.
He is he has thrown some very nice dogs. Anyway, I had one. I had a litter mate to the woodpecker dog and to the birdie dog of the Perkins and Josh and Audrey Perkins. And anyway, Tyler Asbury, he made that cross and he raised that litter. And man, I'll just be honest with you, there was none of them puppies available. And I just messaged him one day and I was like, dude, long shot, you got anything out of that Woody cross left? And he's like, dude, somebody backed out on a female. You want her? I was like, yeah, I'll take her. I didn't care what she looked like, this and that. I was like, he's like, well, there'll be a dog hauler here that's ready to go. I was like, I sent him the money and I got the pup. So, I mean, at 4 months old, I called her Ava. Um, 4 months old, that thing was treeing wild squirrels and she was
Wow.
just, oh yeah, dude. And she was fun to hunt. I mean, she had a big old nose and she just, she just, she was just a fun dog to hunt. She'd go tree a lot of squirrels. Um, but then I always went back to old Tank. Well, he got old and anyway, he died on me. And so after that, it kind of let the wind out of my sail. You know what I mean? You know, when you got a dog that you're really confident in, it's
But
hard to grab something else out of the pen and not, especially if there's money on the line. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So, but I did. I hunted Ava for a couple years and I just sold her earlier this year to Michael Harlow bought her. And he's go campaigner. He'll do good with her. He's go hit some of the open hunts and NSD and USDC stuff. Cause I mean, I don't have the time and stuff to go. And he does go to a lot of hunts. So it'll be good for her to be there. But, yeah, man. So now when I got rid of her, I was on the lookout for something that I really been looking for another dog like Tank. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I lost him, he was 8 years old again, but he just at 8 years old he hunted the same as he was the day that I got him. And I kept him. I got him when he was a 4 year old. But anyway, he was. I'll just be honest with you, man. He was just something that was really really fun to hunt, and you was go get him off a tree somewhere. But anyway, so I had. Really been looking, man, and I tried a couple of dogs out, and it just didn't really suit me, man. I look for a dog that's gonna, I need something that's doing something. I don't want if I have to walk it over a squirrel, I just soon care these doodles that I got that my wife, we feed every day. they'll tree every squirrel in the woods if you walk them across it. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tree a bunch of squirrels. I can take them 2 dogs and walk them through the woods, and they will tree squirrels and fill your sack up. But that's not what I'm after. I'm looking at pulling up to a dirt road and kicking a dog out from the tailgate and it going and getting treed. I don't want to have to walk one over it. So, but anyway, with that being said, I went through a bunch of stuff, and some stuff, was nice. Some of them, it'd be little small stuff that, I mean, it may fit the bill as far as the hunting, but it wallered in its poop, or, it paint a pen with poop, or I can't stand that. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
real picky, or it barked in the kennel or something like that. And I'm just, like I said, I'm pretty picky.
I've got one right now. I'm already ready to get rid of because of that.
Oh, dude, I can't handle it. I mean, and I wash my kennels out every day, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes twice
Mm-hmm.
a day. So it's not really that bad, but I don't know, man. I guess it got better when I started feeding a good feed. I feed Joy, but it got a little better when I started feeding a better feed. It wasn't as messy, but still, you got some of those that's
They
just
gonna
go.
do it.
Well, it's just go. They gonna mash it down, and I just can't handle it. But man, I got to kind of to where I'm at now. I got a buddy that bought a dog. He calls me every year. I mean, he's on some good ones. He on that 2020 crank dog. He won the NSD World Hunt, and he owned a couple more dogs. But he called me one day. This was last year, I believe it was. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm looking for another good dog." And I was like, "Well, here's all I can tell you about is this dog that was on the internet, and he's done some winning." And I was like, "Here, call Samuel Green." And so he called Samuel, and he got the America's Rick Stretch dog bought. Well, um, I'd kind of forgotten about Stretch, honestly. And I don't know. It's been 2 months ago. Miles said, I was like, man, I'm gonna try. I was really kind of out with it. I was like, dude, I ain't got no dog to hunt. Which some I know enough people, they'll send me a dog to hunt, in these competition hunts. So they know I'm a pretty hard hunter, and they'll send me something to hunt. But anyway. And Miles was like, dude, what about your buddy that bought the stretch dog? And I was like, son of a gun. I had forgot all about him, and he ain't 30 minutes from my house. So I called Spencer. Spencer Hooks is who he is. He don't competition hunt or anything like that. He just likes a good squirrel dog. Anyway, so I called him. I was like, hey, man, like, what's Stretch doing? He's like, his big fat tail's in the pen, been in there. I was like, well, how'd you like him? He's like, man, we ain't cut that dog loose 10 times. And I was like, cool. I was like,
How much
I'm
you
looking.
want?
Well, I did ask that, and I was like, because I know that Samuel Green, he'd won, almost 17,000 with him and stuff, in the USDP, and he'd finished him to, like, he was, runner up or something in the Junior World Hunt, and the OMCBA World. So I mean, I knew he could win, and I knew he was a nice dog. If Samuel, thought a lot of him, because he's done some winning all over. But anyway, I called Spencer, and he's like, man, that dude's sitting in the pen fat as a tick. I was like, I'm coming to get him. He's like, what you go do? And I was like, I'm gonna push him in some hunts this year. I'm gonna get him in shape and push him in some hunts. So I get over there, and he's like, dude, I'm so glad you called. This is what he needs. We ain't hunting this dog. This is what he needs. I was like, cool. I was like, well, price him to me, and then I'll come get him. Well, it rocked on a couple of days, and I was like, hey, man, you go price me the dog. And he's like, look, man, we don't want no money for him. We just want you to come get him, and stuff like that. And I was like, well, crap. I was like, that's all good and stuff. I was like, but here's the thing. I was like, I don't want my biggest deal was with that was, I spent all this time getting him in shape and stuff, and they want to go kill squirrels to him. They can. It's their dog. But I feel like, you know, this is what I feel. I feel like that I done put this time in there, and then you go in there and just leave him loose on a tree. Don't tie him to the trees and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Just, he don't need a pile of squirrel shot out to him if I'm going to campaign him. I'll just say it like that. And so I told him, I was like, hey, man, I got a nice female out of some of Lee's stuff and Lee Langley's Gator stuff and Michael Dixon's Bama Dog. But anyway, uh, actually, it's out of Chris Madison's Riley female and Michael Dixon's Bama Dog. But anyway, with that being said, she's as good of a pleasure dog as you'll ever go to. She's perfect, and she's really what they need. But anyway, and I just told him, I was like, hey, I'll make a deal with you. You know, if I get this dog in shape and he makes the right kind, and y'all want a squirrel hunt, y'all just get her. Don't get stretched. And they was like, oh, yeah, you know, we got plenty of dogs. We ain't worried about that, this and that. So anyway, so that's kind of been the deal, man. I've had him, I guess, almost a month and a half. Yeah, I've had him probably a month and a half. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I set into him, and he's the right one. He is the right kind. I'll say that. He checks every single box. Now I won't lie, the first, you know, he was fat and out of shape, but the first 7 or 8 days I hunted him, man, I wouldn't have give you a wooden nickel for him, just because he would go out there and he'd get treed, but then when you cut him off that tree, he'd be out there eating grass or bowed up trying to poop or peeing on everything. And I kind of just stuck with him, and I pushed him on off of that stuff. And you know, I cut his feed way back, and then I obviously I got him on feed again, but I had to cut him. I mean, he don't need much to keep going. I'll tell you that.
Had to trim old fat boy down.
Oh yeah, man. I put him on a diet, and man, I'll tell you this. The last 28. The last 31 days I've hunted 28 of them. I mean, honestly, dude, and
you got him right.
I got him right. I cut him today, and I'll tell you this. He's been anywhere from, you know, I've dry holed him. He's been 999 yards, 816. You can hear him treat at 816 with the leaves on. I'll say that. I got video of that. But anyway, but today, dude, I laid him up the last 2 days, and I cut him this morning, and he was like 178 with a squirrel, 99 from that tree with a squirrel. He went 178 again, or 187 in 22 seconds with a squirrel so he treed 3 squirrels, and he made 4 trees. He made 3 trees under 400 yards from the truck, had 3 squirrels. I cut him off that last squirrel, and he was 548, and he probably had that one too, but I didn't spend time looking for it. I had to get back to work, but I mean, he was that dude treed 3 squirrels today in under, I mean, it was maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. He had 3 squirrels. We're talking about Bienville National Forest, that's heavily hunted land. And I mean, he looked like $1 million. So I think that, you know, I'll try it again. It's hard for me to not hunt him. I enjoy hunting him that much. So I got to watch how much I hunt him, but I'm thinking I may just hunt him, you know, try to hunt him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then lay him up on the weekend and then do it again. I'm going to try that this week. And if he goes in there and fires in there like that again on, just say, next Monday, I'll know to lay him up a couple of days before hunts, and that's going to be the ticket.
It sounds like you're going to be hauling the right one for these UMCA hunts and everything this year.
Well, so that UMCA stuff is going to be, that's going to be a good deal. That's going to be some good things to go to. It's going to fit me for sure, because I can run to them and be home in the same day. You know, when my son, Payson plays basketball at school, and then we got football, and he shoots on the sporting clay team, and so we just got a lot going on, dude.
Yeah, I understand that, man. It's going to be hard. I'm driving 6 and 7 hours to come down there and hunt them, man, but I'm looking forward to them.
It's fun, man. I'm telling you. But it's just gonna be more suited for me to go to some of that stuff this year. And man, I'm not saying that if I go and do good, I may try to get me one of them truck hunt entries and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, and go up there and try to. I mean, I'm not saying that I'll win it, but I mean, he's got as good a shot as any dog, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good one, man. I'll say that he's better than my old tank dog, and I like that sucker. I'll just be honest with you, I do. I really like his dog, and
I hope I get to pull you in one of the hunts, get to see him go, buddy.
oh yeah, you will. So, but man, that's kind of where I'm at these days. I'm enjoying life for sure.
Yeah, buddy. Well, man, we've been rolling for about an hour, man. I appreciate you getting on here tonight and shooting the
Absolutely.
bull with me and, telling your testimony and, talking some of these dogs, man. I've really, really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else is, man. It's been a good one.
All right, brother. Well, yeah, man. Anytime. Like I said, if I can help you with your podcast, you let me know, and we'll try to get to these hunts and try to get some footage of that. We'll get together and do
Oh, yeah,
some
for sure.
use there.
For sure, buddy. Well, man, you have yourself a good afternoon, buddy.
All right,
I'll be hollering at you soon, man.
all right, brother. See you.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yeah, man.